Well, since U.S. President Donald Trump raised the aluminum tariffs to 50% in June, Canada has been shifting its aluminum exports to other parts of the world. My next guest says this high-level tariff on aluminum is simply not sustainable. And let's bring in Jean Simard, the president and CEO of the Aluminum Association of Canada. Jean, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
You think this shift to Europe and other places isn't something that's going to continue?
Well, the situation with a 50% tariff is highly disruptive for an integrated value chain, industrial value chain like we have in North America, across Canada and U.S. The access to the European market has always been there in the past, but since we're a truly integrated market in North America, the first place where metal wants to go because of market attraction is the U.S. So we had to revert to ship to Europe temporarily over the summer because the transactional price for aluminium was not factoring in the total cost of the tariff. It took some weeks, and finally, it has reached a threshold where metal is attracted back into North America, which means that more and more through the coming weeks and months, the end user, the consumer, will be hit by the full impact of the tariff, which will become more and more unsustainable, disruptive, and potentially create some inflationary pushback in the U.S.
And so now, sorry, just to clarify, the price to sell to the U.S. is more appealing right now than Europe?
Well, it's gone back to a situation where the tariff impact on our shipments to the U.S. are, I would say, neutral, whereas over the early month of June and then into July, the price was not factoring in the total cost of the tariff. So we were basically losing money shipping to the U.S. We lost about $600 million over a matter of weeks, which brought Canada, the Canadian producers, to ship or to avoid shipping about 45% of the metal that normally goes to the U.S., keeping some in Canada and shipping some to Europe. So it was a matter of avoiding losses, and the best way to do that was to ship to Europe, which offered a better or less disadvantageous position. So now that the market is paying or factoring in the full cost of the tariff, the situation for us to ship to the U.S. is not as impactful as it was before that.
Now, are you still shipping similar numbers then, or will you start shipping similar numbers to what you did before then?
We're getting back there, yes.
And which is, I guess, is good news for your group, but it's the consumers and everybody else is paying the price. So where does that leave you? Where does that leave Canada when it comes to the U.S.? You still want to see, obviously, the tariffs eliminated.
Yeah, logistically, the U.S. market makes far more sense for us than any other market, although since our smelters are seaborne for the most part, we have the option of shipping, as we've done over the summer, to other markets. But as much as we can, this is a market in which we've invested ourselves for decades. We have long-time clients. We have a very good reputation on the U.S. market. So hopefully this whole tariff situation will land in a more favorable place at some point in time, meaning here a very differentiated position for Canada versus the rest of imports coming from other places of the world, such as the Middle East, India, or Australia, as an example.
And sorry, I just want to ask about the seaborne smelters. Does that mean they're on the water, easy to move, easy to load and ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And with everything that has gone on, have you developed some new markets, though, in outside of the U.S., or is that something that doesn't come easily?
Well, it's the way our industry is structured. We already have the three players, which is Rio Tinto, and Alcoa and Alouette, all have a footprint in Europe. So they either produce already from Scandinavian countries to ship to Europe, in Iceland as an example, or as the case is with Alouette, the Setil smelter, they have shareholders who are of European origin who have been taking the metal from Setil and shipping it to Europe for decades now. Mm-hmm. So we already have a very established footprint in Europe, which means that basically, since we're producing at full capacity, the metal will either go to the US market or go to the European market, all depending on what we call the netback, which is the market that gives you the best return for your shipment.
Okay, we'll have to wrap it up there. We're out of time. But Jean, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Jean Simard is President and CEO of the Aluminum Association of Canada.